makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part.
I'll be honest, I think the single institution most responsible for the decline of democracy in countries like the US and Britain and large parts of the Western world is the media. Ideally, the media should not just be an institution involved in reporting news or investigating news, but also challenging power and challenging narratives. And by and large, American media has utterly failed to do that. Utterly failed. And I am talking, of course, of the of cable media, because we have Fox News, which is basically just 24/7 lies. But we also have channels like CNN and MSNBC, which even if they don't as often openly lie as Fox News, they prefer to lie by omission, by presenting you a very limited view of reality, which fits their narrative. And the printed media is not much better. The New York Times is atrocious, I would have to say, in terms of doing its job at challenging power, as is the Washington Post. And I'm talking now the two major newspapers in the United States. Obviously, the Washington Post owned by a plutocrat, so what do you expect? But anyway, there just seems to be no outlet. And if you have a media that just refuses to do its job at challenging power, then the few times that you have the opportunity to get an important figure in front of you, you will end up missing that opportunity. And that is what this video is about. Because I'm going to talk about Kyrsten Sinema, who you all know is a very controversial senator who has tried as much as possible to avoid getting interviewed, avoid, talking to reporters or talking to activists, or where she does not, she hid in a bathroom just because she didn't want to be challenged by an activist. Now, this is completely different from Joe Manchin, for example, who loves giving interviews. He loves being in the spotlight. Kyrsten Sinema does not like that at all. And that is what is so problematic about her, because if you aren't able to interview her, if you aren't able to understand what she wants, then no one knows what she wants. And that's the big controversy behind her, that no one knows what she wants from the infrastructure bills, from the Build Back Better bill. What number is she aiming for? What policies in that bill does she want to strip out? Which ones she want to keep? No one knows what she wants. Not even her colleagues. So you now have a golden opportunity because she sat down with ABC15 of Arizona. You now have a golden opportunity to get those questions answered. And this is what happens. Watch this absolute shameful interview. Because rest assured, she is not going to give any more. So take a look.
Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema credited with helping the infrastructure bill make its way to President Biden's desk.
Yeah, the Arizona Democrat rarely grants interviews, but today she sat down for an...
By the way, they said helping the bill get to Joe Biden's desk. In what part of this process was Kyrsten Sinema ever helpful? None. She has been one of the two people responsible for dragging this out for months on end. So from the very start of this interview, the way that this is framed is already wrong.
Exclusive one-on-one with our political reporter, Mark Phillips.
Yeah. Less than a week after watching President Biden sign the $1 trillion infrastructure bill into law.
Thank you.
Senator Kyrsten Sinema attended a Mesa Community College roundtable with Senator Mark Kelly and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. One stop on a day of explaining what the infrastructure bill means for Arizonans.
First goal, of course, is to make historic investment.
By the way, does anyone notice that she's sort of sitting like Donald Trump? Donald Trump has that very peculiar style of sitting, like a kid at school wearing the dunce cap in the corner. That's kind of the Trump sit down look. And I think Kyrsten Sinema is kind of resembling that a bit.
An infrastructure that's been crumbling for decades, and to ensure that we're growing jobs right here in Arizona and across the country. And the second, I would say equally important achievement,
Her tone of voice is so fake. So fake. Like, she has these answers already prepared. Because I think that was the condition of doing this interview. That the questions were, you know, vetted before it actually happened.
Is to demonstrate that we can get things done and work across the aisle.
This is such a bad excuse, and I don't want to regurgitate every single argument because we already know why this is bullshit. This whole we need to make let's trim down a bill which has all these good things. Let's strip all that out until we reach the lowest common denominator that some Republicans will agree to it. Because what's more important than actual things, you know, actual good social policy or spending policy? No. It's more important that we symbolically get a few Republicans on board. No one in their right minds thinks that this is sensible. It is merely an excuse on why they decided to do what they did, to strip it of all good things. That's the excuse. And remember, the Republicans, they don't care about reaching across the aisle. They don't care if their bills are bipartisan or not. They don't care. You have guys posting anime videos on Twitter where they murder other Congress women. Do you think this is a party that is sane? It's not sane. The GOP is not sane. They are not people you want to work with. So forget about bipartisanship. Republicans don't care.
Insistence to cut the size of the infrastructure package from $3 trillion to what it is today did not sit well with many Democrats.
I don't bend to political pressure from any party or any group.
But you do bend to money. That's the fact. You do bend over backwards for your donors.
I just stay focused on what matters for Arizonans.
The Build Back Better bill is passed.
Expect more of the same. Now,
oh my God, that is so cringe. That is so... I hadn't seen this. First of all, everything that Nancy Pelosi does is cringe. She's just like a walking embodiment of just don't do it. Whatever Nancy Pelosi does, if you want to look at people as a model for how to be a politician, look at Nancy Pelosi and just be like, whatever she is, I shouldn't be. But look at that. Like, there's people jumping with joy at this utter mediocrity of a bill. This is so sad. This is so sad. This is the sign of a dying empire in front of your very eyes.
Now that the $1.75 Build Back Better plan passed the House Friday, it faces stiff opposition from Republicans in the Senate. If the bill has any chance of passing, Democrats will need Senator Sinema on board.
Any action we take is fiscally responsible so that we're not taking any kind of tax increases that reduce American competitiveness or...
This is basically the American Enterprise Institute talking point, or the talking point of any libertarian think tank. Again, just pure excuses. Did she challenge military spending? No, she didn't. And that is much, much bigger than even the biggest manifestation of the two infrastructure bills. So, yeah, she's full of shit.
Hurt our businesses' abilities to get ahead.
That's not likely to make Arizona's progressive Democrats happy. But Sinema says she wasn't elected to represent a party. She was elected to represent the state.
What I do know is this. I'm a straight shooter. Folks know who I am.
Senator Sinema says her priority right now is to ensure that the infrastructure bill is implemented efficiently and effectively.
By the way, what she just said is very disturbing. Yes, you are technically voted to represent your state, but you are a member of that party, and you do have like some responsibility with that party. If not, then you would just run as an independent. If she doesn't care at all about any pressure that her party can exert on her, if she doesn't care about the ultimate political objectives of her party or the agenda of Joe Biden, if she doesn't care about any of that, why did she run as a Democrat? Just leave the party. Or better yet, be expelled from the party. which is what I think they should have done to her and Manchin.
Mark Phillips, ABC15, Arizona.
Dude, you had the chance to interview Kyrsten Sinema, the only person in months who's been given the chance to interview Kyrsten Sinema. And what did you do in these 2 minutes? Essentially, make a propaganda video. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you know what, like, people like Mehdi Hassan would have paid to interview Kyrsten Sinema? You know, just to grill her on all her lies and all her hypocrisy. You know, I'm thinking of Mehdi because I can't think of anyone in like the mainstream media who tends to grill politicians the way he does. There might be one or two more, but that's it. That's it. No one else would do this. Brian Stelter would be fawning over her. Chris Cuomo as well. Rachel Maddow would probably find some some reason to talk about Russiagate. This is insane. This is insane. This guy just had, like, dude, you were the sniper that had Hitler in your crosshairs before the war, but you spent that time admiring his mustache. God, this is depressing.
Here's what it looked like.
Yeah, there you go. And well, that is the you know, the television media. What about the printed media? Well, the New York Times received a letter from 3 senators, female senators, who object to the sexist focus on Sinema's style. Senators criticize the Times' coverage of their colleagues' style and fashion choices. The Times has published 4 separate pieces analyzing the style and dress of our colleague, Senator Kyrsten Sinema. We cannot imagine the Times printing similar pieces on the fashion choices of any of our male colleagues. That is absolutely true. As Senator Sinema recently said about the commentary on her fashion, I wear what I want because I like it. It's not a news story and it's no one's business. We couldn't agree more. Senator Sinema is a serious... Okay, this is the part that I think is just ridiculous. Senator Sinema is a serious, hardworking member of the Senate who contributes a great deal to the policy deliberations before us. Your repeated focus on how she dresses rather than what she says and does is demeaning, sexist, and inappropriate. Yeah, so there's the 3 senators. 2 of them are Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are Republican. Jean Shaheen is a Democrat. I think there's so much more to criticize about Kyrsten Sinema that, like, the obsession over her fashion really is not something that I would care much about. I do agree, though, that the New York Times should not be wasting 4 separate pieces writing about what she wears. Forget about the sexism, which I do think is real, but I think what's worse is that they're doing this to avoid having to talk about her. That's the real issue. And it's the same with other media. There is no criticism, like serious criticism of what she does. Unless you go to, like, you know, the progressive media on YouTube. That's the only media ecosystem that is actually explaining to people what is fundamentally wrong about her. But anyway, you know, there's the byline of the Washington Post that says democracy dies in darkness, and they put it when Trump came to power because, you know, at that moment the liberal centrist media felt like they were defending democracy against Trumpism and the far right. But you know what? All of this happens because they do not challenge Democrats enough when they're in power. Fascism is a result of the failure of liberal centrism. And therefore the media that upholds this liberal centrist elite is just as guilty of allowing fascism to rise than Fox News. But they refuse to see it that way. They refuse to see it that way. So, to end this video, I am gonna talk about Kyrsten Sinema's fashion just because why not? So I thought this was really funny. Kyrsten Sinema as dumpsters, which I think is the inanimate object that she most resembles in terms of her moral fiber and political views. So yeah, how about this one? Yeah, definitely good. Yeah, very close purple tone right there. Same here, very green. Not so much the wig. This one, kind of artsy, I would say. Dumpster fire. Again, there is no better physical manifestation of what Kyrsten Sinema is than a dumpster fire. Yeah, good combination of red and yellow, pink. She always does pink very well. This sort of salmony red, that is total match. This one is great. I think she would totally, yeah, right next to it. Couldn't tell them apart. Nice yellow tone as well. Very, very pastelish. Yeah, that one is also great. You could sell this as an NFT, I'm sure. You could sell all of these as an NFT. Again, green matches the wig more than the dress. Yeah, very, very good here. Colorful. Yeah, maybe a bit more black, but yeah. Here we have the cold steel boss girl look, the 1940s fancy dress party look. This one is great. I think she would this is like Navy SEALs quality camouflage if she was next to these dumpsters. If she ever needs to hide from activists or her constituents and then there isn't a bathroom nearby, this would be great. She would totally, you wouldn't tell her apart. More pink, yeah. Another great camouflage opportunity right there. And yeah, this was also fantastic. So yeah, that is Kyrsten Sinema. And remember, the problem is not cinema. The problem is the media that enables people like Sinema to thrive and to be able to destroy democracy the way that she is doing and the way that all these outlets are doing. They all must share the blame. So on that note, if you like this video, please like, please share. Most importantly, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.